The power of the internet has brought me here today with 3 Canadians in 3 different time zones. All across the world, us weary travelers, as Tristan sometimes says, are here to watch anime. Here's your token American, home of Dr. Pepper and Miles, that's me, and we are here to watch anime.
I'm Tristan.
I'm Miles.
My wife wishes I was Satoru Gojo.
And I'm Yazy. And this is Quest for the Best, I'm going to say it.
Yay!
That was cute.
You are right that we are all somehow in different time zones.
Magic of the interwebs.
It is lovely, and that's how all of you are listening to us now. Or watching us if you, by chance, are on the tube of views. But thank you all for joining us. This is Quest for the Best, where we talk about the greatest anime of all time and make the most inconsequential list of all time. Today, we are ranking an anime a couple of you may have heard about. It's called Jujutsu Kaisen, or JJK for short. Definitely not Sorcerer Fighters, as I was introduced to the series as when it was being pitched as an anime.
Thank God they didn't do that.
Look, I think every anime should have a localized title, unless it's going to be called Sorcerer Hunters.
Sorcerer Fighters.
Sorcery fight. Actually, it's Sorcery Fight.
I mean, if you just called it Sorcery Fight, I guarantee 100% I would have mixed it up with Orphan before even looking at it at all.
If they had called it Sorcery Fight, I guarantee Geoff never would have convinced me to watch it ever, and my life would be completely different. So,
Yep. Never in a million years could I have convinced her to watch it.
Sorcery Fight.
Sorcery Fight.
You know what? Sorcery Fight's got some bad juju. Kaisen.
Crickets.
Miles, I, along with everybody on the internet that just heard that, please slap yourself.
We demand an apology.
Back to the hole.
This episode has been a long time coming. I'm so glad we finally got you on the show, Yazy.
I'm so glad you guys finally watched Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad.
Well, I need to watch it again already is the biggest problem. And I need to have a textbook out as I'm going through it so I can make sure I'm following the rules right.
That's how you know it's a good shonen battle series.
We will get to that. Before that, we have our side quest this week. Yazy.
As we like to do with guests.
Who are you?
I'm Yazy.
Why are you here?
What do you mean? Why am I here? I can leave if that makes
Because we haven't
sense.
figured out a good transition yet, besides just saying, hey, we have specifically as a group asked you to join us on this little thing that we do once a week.
Yes.
And you said yes. We needed to sound better than that, yes.
Yes.
That's the problem.
I'm Yazy.
And we haven't figured out how to do
Yazy.
that.
My name Yazy. I like Jujutsu Kaisen. That's what people on the internet know me for now. Bottom text. Yay!
Bottom text.
What path in life brought you to this wonderful podcast?
One day, a year and a half ago, Geoff said, "Hey Yazy, do you want to help with my podcast with Tristan and Miles?" And I said, "Okay." And then you guys were sitting around and said, "Shit, we need a guest." And I said, "Jujutsu Kaisen," and now I'm here.
That is an extremely accurate summary of events that led to this precise moment.
I stood in the background going, "Jujutsu Kaisen, Jujutsu Kaisen."
For many months, in fact.
Yes.
And then, I mean, it takes a while to sit through, so.
It was even brought up when we were in Japan, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, we'll totally get
I
to
laid
it.
claim to this episode. Nobody's stealing this episode from me.
It was a lot I had watched, for the listeners at home, I had watched season 1 prior to this. So
As did I.
A lot of homework to do, and I still haven't watched Zero, but I really want to watch Zero now.
You haven't watched Zero?
No, I understand the important context that I'm missing, though.
Damn.
I know what I'm missing.
No, you don't. You are
That's
missing
like
yaoi levels that you have never even been able to comprehend. You don't even... I gotta go. I'll see you guys next week. I'm sorry.
Well, Miles, guess what? Now we can have a completely separate episode on Zero, and we can invite Yazy back, and we can do this all over again.
Yeah. And you like movies, so it'll probably be your favorite part.
I do.
You are seriously missing out on some good yaoi there, though. Like...
I don't doubt that. I will say I did get, at least seconds and thirds through the TV show.
I mean, the best yaoi is in the TV show, but the full tragedy of that yaoi does not hit you unless you have also seen JJK Zero.
Yes, it's true.
And then seeing the JJK Zero stage play several times in Yazy's
multiple
case.
Multiple times.
I saw it once with her on Christmas Eve, which
on Yaoi
is,
Day. You saw it on JJK Zero Day, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm just laying it out there now. If the next thing you say is that we have to listen to drama CDs, I'm out.
No.
Back to high school I go. Hell yeah.
There is a light novel, I think,
There's 3 light novels actually.
which are mostly just the characters messing around and like hanging out, right?
Well, there's a
the best
JJK Zero has a full light novel that's just the retelling as a light novel. But there's also 2 just side story light novels of everyone dicking around. Have any of you guys, besides Geoff, ever seen a stage play before? Ever? Not like in person, but even have you seen like clips of anime stage plays?
5D stage play.
Yeah, anime stage plays. Like
I've watched some Prince of Tennis ones.
those ones are peak. I know nothing about Prince of Tennis, but I know that those ones keep the economy going here.
Yes, I'm trying to remember all the ones that I watched. I think that there was a Bookworm one that I watched, and I'm pretty sure there was also a Death Note one that I watched.
The American Death Note one, though, or the Japanese Death Note one?
I'm pretty sure it was Japanese Death Note because I'm almost certain it's in my video. I was trying to like include everything that I possibly could, including the DS game.
No, the American Death Note play, you would remember it because it's a musical.
Yeah. Most of them are. In fact, most stage plays are. Not all of them, but most
I mean, it's a musical that you would remember the songs from.
People bullied the JJK people too much about it being a musical, and then the Hidden Inventory stage play wasn't a musical, and I felt very ripped off. I mean, I still loved it and saw it 4 times in a week, but fans complain too much about the musical aspect, so they're getting rid of those in stage plays.
That's ridiculous. Who complains?
The internet.
Who who would complain
Anonymous
about
people
such
on
a
the
thing?
internet on the feedback form.
Well, don't
They're
listen
not
to
real
those anonymous people. They're stupid.
So, backing off from JJK for a brief moment, we are going to get back into it because it is the JJK episode. Yazy, how did you get into anime way back in the day?
Okay, first of all, I don't consider Pokemon... I know Pokemon's an anime, right? Mm-hmm. And Dragon Ball Z is an anime, but when I was a kid, I thought they were just cartoons. So I don't like count them.
Sailor Moon is included in that.
Yeah, I don't like count them when I'm like, my first anime, because I was just watching the cartoons that the TV told me to watch, and I was liking them. I didn't register that they were from like a different country. So my first anime, I was way too young for it, but it was Escaflowne on YTV, because I was just sitting and watching YTV, and for some reason they put that in the 8 p.m. slot when us kids were still awake. And I remember watching it and being like, and my life changed. I was way too young. I did not understand what was going on. I was probably like 8 years old. Like I did not know. I was still like prime Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z screaming at my TV age. And I didn't know what was going on, but I watched one episode of that and I was obsessed.
Changed your brain chemistry.
It did. It literally did. And that was like the first time I was aware that I was watching something that like wasn't a cartoon. It was this was drawn, but it wasn't a cartoon. It wasn't Pokemon.
YTV is so formative for Canadian anime watchers.
Thank God they put that in the 8 p.m. slot for some reason.
You know what? The funny thing is, Yazy's first ever anime, and like the one she first became obsessed with was that.
Yes.
She loves ReZero.
Yes.
She loves Witch Hat Atelier.
Yes.
Yeah. As you should.
But what are you about to embarrass me about?
If I ask her to watch a fantasy anime, she says, no, I don't like fantasy.
I hate fantasy.
She just doesn't like Lord of the Rings, and specifically doesn't like the Lord of the Rings movies. And because of that,
many fantasy series boring. I'm sorry. It
needs
other sauce. It needs other sauce.
Yeah, everything needs other sauce.
Or yaoi, which it needs a little sprinkle of something on the side for me to like it, and that's why I'll never watch and enjoy Furin. Sorry, guys.
I'm like so unoffended by this because you don't like Lord of the Rings. That like, if you don't like Lord of the Rings, of course you're not going to like most fantasy things.
But the thing is, I suspect that she doesn't like Lord of the Rings for ADHD reasons.
It's so fucking boring. It's so boring. I even tried Lego Lord of the Rings because
the game,
because they retell the whole story and that couldn't do it. They don't even talk in that one, and I couldn't.
Was that during the period of time where the Lego remakes were not dialogue?
Yeah. They were just like all Lego sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But a little hard to follow if you haven't already read the book.
Can't say I didn't give it a try. All right.
The good old Lego try.
But after Escaflowne, I went into Inuyasha and Zoids, and it was just all downhill from there.
I mean, from that perspective, like, I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings, and that's cool and great. But
you're
I
also a big fan of
Free
Freerun, though, right?
True.
And other fantasy like that, the like epic thing.
True. But like, if you're saying specifically that Lord of the Rings doesn't have like that extra sauce, then all I'm hearing is like, okay, well, like so many other fantasy out there, they use Lord of the Rings as a base and then add more shit to it. So it's like, yeah, I'm totally fine having a basic burger with nothing else on it. I can do that. I mean, I would prefer to have other things.
I will also
say, I can appreciate the basic burger.
Lord of the Rings does have a lot of yaoi sauce, but you gotta work for it.
You don't have to work for it all. It's one of the most openly BL titles I've ever seen in my life. It is one of the gayest things I've ever watched.
It's not enough. Jeff keeps telling me that too. Sometimes Jeff misses what he's always like. Yeah, you can yaoi this. I'm like, you don't get it. You don't think with the Fujo brain that I have.
Therefore, but it's not also the same. she won't listen to me on Hunter x Hunter, and like
that's fine.
Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho are yaoi as.
I wouldn't say as the word that I'm not wanting to censor out later, so I'm saving my editing self the hassle of doing that. But yeah, I wouldn't go that far with either of those. If you're comparing it to like JJK, no.
Compared to JJK, sure, but like they're both foundational to JJK. And like if you think about like Gon, Killua, Leorio, and basically anyone,
oh, poor Leorio.
Hiei and Kurama. Like, come on. Like, it's foundational.
So here's the thing. My wife and I were having a conversation about this in regards to JJK just earlier today. She is of the opinion, and I tend to agree with her because I'm a good husband, that the best shipping opportunities exist where the least amount of pressure is put into the story. And like, I don't want to call JJK bait because they are just in love, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not bait necessarily, but it's also like it's a little more exciting for me when I want to project, my own feelings onto two fictional characters, or project their feelings onto each other in various complicated ways that require a lot of acrobatics, for the characters to not necessarily have that textual relationship. So, for example, I find Lord of the Rings very heartwarming. This, like Frodo and Sam's relationship is, you could argue it's like a type A relationship between two Japanese girls in high school, but for small Hobbit boys that are in their 50s. But it's also...
Which is high school age for Hobbits.
It's like...
Or like college age.
Young adult. Yeah.
Sam has a job. He's a gardener.
Well, you can have a job at 15.
Yeah.
You can have a job at 8. If your parents have like a grocery store or something, you're bagging stuff when you're 8 years old. Anyway, the
baggins are bagging.
Uh-huh. And you got mad at me for the pun earlier today.
Difference is I'd slap myself if you'd asked.
Oh my goodness. But like with JJK, and we're going to get into this, it's like, because it's basically, it's as close to textual as you can get. Almost like Lord of the Rings, other than like Sam deciding to marry Rosie for whatever reason at the end. I guess it's fine because his husband left. Spoilers for Lord of the Rings.
No, I can never.
Maybe he really wanted kids.
But yeah, if Sam doesn't have kids, then how is Stephen Colbert going to write a sequel about the kids?
Precisely.
Anyway, I'm kind of with my wife that like it's more fun when there's just a little bit of sauce, not so much sauce, but also
is that a fun middle ground.
That's like a matter of
the spurt.
That's very much a matter of opinion to me, and so like I don't think that there's any more or less valid ways of the shipping culture. But I would say that if you look at historical shipping cultures, they came out of ones where it's like as close to textual as it gets. Spock and Kirk type stuff.
Watson and Holmes.
Watson, Holmes. And then it becomes slightly more, you have to use your creativity as the fandom gets bigger. I don't... To like Draco and anyone in Harry.
Draco and Harry?
Well, no, Draco and Hermione even. Like all of those are like a little oblique to me. As someone who's only read 4 Harry Potter books in his life, so I guess I'm not the best example, but I've watched the movies, I guess.
There's not a lot of development in the books. It's fine.
Have you read the formative internet work of our age, My Immortal?
Yeah, of course.
Thank God.
Good.
Thank God.
Then you know.
I know.
The thing is, like, that does seem kind of like if not a majority opinion, then a very popular one, right? Because, like, the most popular ship in Jujutsu Kaisen, for instance, what is it, Yazy? It's not Gojo Geto. What is it?
Are we talking about like going off the Pixiv?
Yeah,
Japan?
going off.
It is Gojo and Yuji is the number one most popular ship by far, by like a lot
and then
every year.
And then is Yuji Megumi or Megumi Gojo second?
I think Megumi Gojo might be second, and then Gojo Geto third. People don't like Itafushi here. They don't like Megumi Yuji here. It doesn't even rank usually, which is crazy.
Dang.
But
that is kind of crazy.
The thing is, Megumi is boring.
That's true. That's true. I was watching the live stream for the game the other night, and he got bodied in all the polls. So, like 6% in all of the fan polls they were doing live. I was like, thank.
I have a private like theory that Gege Akutami read Naruto and just hated Sasuke.
Which is hilarious, because when I first watched season 1, he showed up and he had a little bit of time and I'm like, oh, hello, Sasuke. That was my first impressions of the character from episode 1. I was like, hello, Sasuke. And it took a while for me to really remove that from my brain.
You know, despite all of the anime I've watched in my life, I've still never seen Naruto. Ever.
Technically, neither have I. I've seen scattered episodes. I haven't really sat down to watch it, much to the, let's say, annoyance of my co-hosts. I don't know if it's annoyance, more just disappointment.
It just doesn't make sense, like, for both of you. Like, it just, I don't know how you got to this point in your lives, in the way you've lived your lives, without having had someone subject you to Naruto or subjecting yourself to Naruto.
Well, did Naruto ever air in Canada? I don't think it aired till Shippuden, right? It didn't.
No, Naruto was on YTV from the start.
Original?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Not when I was watching.
Well,
YTV.
I was already watching anime on Mega Upload by then. So
no, it was like 2004, 2005.
No, I was already
2005.
I was already off YTV by that point.
I was already watching anime on the internet by then, I'm sure. So
well, you guys did not have joy in your hearts. Clearly, I was still watching stuff on YTV.
No, well, I mean, I was watching YTV for most of the 90s, and then I moved to satellite when we got a satellite one around
Rich kid with the satellite.
2002. Well, we moved houses, and the new house came with the satellite and already 2 years paid. We didn't renew the satellite, but we had it for like 2 years. And that was like how I first got introduced to the American stuff that I didn't have access to before.
Cartoon Network and stuff like that.
Yeah, Cartoon Network was too high of a channel. It didn't come with basic cable or anything. Channel 45.
Yeah, we never had that when I was a kid. It was just YTV all the way.
Never had cartoons?
But yeah, I was watching Naruto on YTV, I guess, when I was 13, which is... perhaps a little too old, but also exactly the right age to watch Naruto.
Yeah, I mean, so like I wasn't that different. So based on, I know for a fact I watched Naruto up until it came out on Toonami, and I watched it on YouTube. So there's actually only like a 6-month gap where YouTube existed, but it was not yet on Toonami in 2005. Those things all happened in 2005. So we were all watching Naruto at this, or you and I at least, Geoff. That's only true anime fans.
I remember reading it a couple years before then, like the couple chapters that appeared in the jumps that I had.
Same,
because I picked up Jump for Yu-Gi-Oh and Dragon Ball and stuff like that, and then here's also Naruto, and it was pretty cool. It was the fight with Haku, which was awesome.
The thing is, it's of all series that are more popular in North America than anywhere else in the world, Naruto is like one of the defining ones in that category. Because it's not like it's unpopular in Japan.
And yet, I sat through Bleach.
Bleach
I didn't sit through all of Bleach. I stopped at the normal point that everybody stops at with Bleach. But I put myself through Bleach.
Yeah.
I felt the need and desire to watch Bleach. Didn't watch One Piece. Didn't watch Naruto.
You should have read Bleach. Then you would have finished it.
I didn't read anything back then.
Naruto was formative to me, and I think it was to Miles too, right? And it was formative to anybody who watched it. But I also don't think it's like required viewing, you know?
The thing is that the time where I probably would have got into Naruto, everyone around me had already skipped to the next step, which was Avatar: The Last Airbender. So that's where I went, and I watched that, and I think I had a pretty good time.
I watched both, and Avatar was definitely better.
I didn't watch Avatar until recently when Geoff made me watch it. I don't know.
It was good, right?
I don't know how I missed it. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think that's another example of like how sometimes relationships that aren't actually in the text are more popular than the ones that are in there. Because like there is absolutely no basis for Zutara, and yet people go wild for that shit.
Well, I think it's just because they like, hey, my favorite guy is Zuko, and he needs to have a ship with someone. And so, I don't know. I don't understand the shipper's mind sometimes. I've lived with them for many years, and yet I still do not know.
I'm trying to protect my wife's sanctity and not share her favorite JJK ship, which she told me not to share on the podcast specifically. So,
well,
What?
Cool. Thank you for bringing that up. And now that you have, what is it?
Why did you? Now you brought it up, and you're taunting all of us with it.
You could have said nothing and drink to forget.
Patron reward. Find out Miles's wife's favorite JJK
Can you type it in the chat and none of us will say anything out loud?
I can do that.
Because I'm nosy. Oh, based.
What is it?
I mean, don't say it out loud, but based. I have some dojins. Tell her I have some dojins.
And now you, in the comments, can guess what it could be.
I have some dojins of it.
What dojins would Yazy have grabbed and owned?
That one's
Probably
spicy.
That doesn't help at all.
So, do we have a question of the week this week?
We do, in fact. Our question for the week comes to us from Jonathan in Utah. Jonathan asks, something you really liked about an anime you disliked. I'm guessing there was a what is at the start of that. But it wasn't but it was not. Okay, no, producer Chloe is saying no, absolutely. It was just something you really liked about an anime you disliked.
I'll go first with the super easy option, Sword Art Online, the music.
I mean, she's done better.
Yeah, but like it's still good.
She's done so much better.
And the theme songs are also generally bangers, even if the direction of the openings isn't great.
What, have you not watched Ordinal Scale, Tristan?
No.
Oh,
the music in that is actually extremely good.
Is it still Kajira or?
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe she got better. But
she
I
also
remember, I know because like I love her in so many other things. I love Kajira's music ever since I played Xenosaga way back in the day. Part 2. She didn't do music part 1. Part 2, but yeah, no, SAO was fine, and that was kind of my problem with it. It was just fine musically. The music was the best part. Even then, that's not saying much.
I actually think it's like really excellent, like great compositions across the board, but being on Sword Art Online kind of drags it down a little bit.
Yeah, but then I mean that was also in and around the time where like she also did music for Fate Zero, and I mean like Fate Zero. I mean,
next to Fate Zero, it's not like.
No, I'd put Ordinal Scale next to Fate Zero is the point.
Yeah, no, I would too.
When did Ordinal Scale come out?
Ordinal Scale is pretty good.
2017.
And
I was completely off the SAO train by that point. I'm like, nope, I'm gone.
Alicization, if I remember right, has some decent tracks in it too. But I mean, you know, all the music in SAO is solid.
And I just found out she's doing the music for Ray Earth. Which
is she now? Oh wait, no, I already knew that.
That's exciting. I
already knew that. I mean, it is, but then because so I know you guys have just made the argument that her music in SAO is very, very good. I feel like she does have a layer of generic fantasy to her music in those genres that I would worry would permeate Ray Earth a bit too much. I'm hopeful for not. Maybe she won't, because it is Ray Earth, and maybe she was a really big fan of Ray Earth, and she has her own thoughts of how that music's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it, but also I would not be surprised.
Well, for me, my answer to this question, it's always, this happens frequently, but the most memorable is the character designs in Roka no Yusha. I have never felt more betrayed by a shitty anime in my life. But my God, I kept going because I loved the character designs so much. I kept going till the end.
Man, that bunny girl.
Yeah, and Fremi with her
Fremi,
like for some reason front open outfit, and the swamp girl. There was all the girls had good designs. The guys, I don't know, that one guy who looks like the Tales of character knockoff. He can go, but
that was like in peak Tales of like character design era, and so I was in.
They copied him down to like the hair gradient. Like they really did not even try to change up the homework a bit. But the girls in that series had incredible designs, and I kept going till the end. I don't think I've ever disliked a series more than Roka no Yusha. Like between how much, I mean, Crunchyroll put promotion into that. I trusted them.
Mm-hmm.
I trusted them. All right. I believed them.
Hey, we didn't know where it was going either.
I believed them, and I kept watching week after week. And I was like, my sucks. I just kept waiting for it to get better and better. And I was like, but the girls have good designs. So that does happen a lot where there's good design that draws me in. And like, I'm like, I really don't like this, but Roka no Yusha is like my biggest betrayal of thing I hated to a great character design ratio.
I have a quick story about that one specifically. I was hosting the Crunchyroll panels still at that time, and we were giving out posters, and one of the posters we were giving out was Roka. We went through, I think, 5 times more Roka posters than anything else. This was before episode 1 had even dropped.
Yeah, the character design was so good.
So drawn to those characters, and I was like, oh, this looks good.
Yeah.
And that probably had the highest conversion rate of like people seeing the key art to, oh, I got to check this out.
And then
they watched episode 4. Yeah.
I watched the whole season, and I like, damn, it was a treadmill show for me, and I still like felt like I could have been watching something better. Like,
I mean, the worst thing is that show betrayed everyone by the 3-episode test. It was still a really cool, like I was 100% in at the end of 3 episodes.
And then episode 4.
4 was the start of the downfall. And then it got into like this swamp era and like literal swamp. And then it just, I'm like, wait, was that the whole point the whole time? It was, I didn't hate it like you, Yazy, but I understand where you're coming from. I still liked it, but
I hated it.
I came around to hating it for, I think, slightly different reasons. Cause like, I also was drawn to the character designs, but there was also this part of me that's like, man, I love mysteries and I love fantasy, but those are like the 2 hardest genres to mash up, right? Because like mysteries operate on real world logic, and like you need the hardest of hard power systems to like even approach writing a good locked room mystery with magic involved, right? Like just straight up. And like they made it seem like they might be able to do it, and then just the entire back half is just ass pull after ass pull after ass pull. And like it's
bad.
And then you get to the end and it's like, okay, well, we find, oh no, there's another one. We gotta do, it's the same thing again. Oh boy.
And then people were like, hey, where's season 2? I'm like, what do you mean?
I heard the light novels were better. I mean, a lot of people say that for a lot of things, but I do remember when I was like when it was airing, everyone who was a fan who liked the light novel, the light novels, I believe, were very adult. Like, I mean, I guess they weren't, I don't know. I'm not the production team, but I do remember everyone being like, damn, this is really Disney-ified compared to the intensity of the light novels and stuff. That wasn't enough to get me out of the light novels, but I do remember people being like, everyone who hyped it up as a light novel fan being like, sorry guys, read the light novel instead. So perhaps they were the season 2 beggars.
Quite possibly. I have 2, depending on whether or not the first one just feels like more of a cop-out, because it's technically the same as Geoff's, just with a different show, in that Big Order is a terrible series that introduced me to Evan Call. And Evan Call's music is the reason why I watched Big Order. It's the reason why I even enjoyed Big Order. And it is the only thing I care about from Big Order since having watched it, because I still, to this day, listen to music from Big Order. I will never rewatch the show, but my God, do I want to turn on Dominate anytime I just feel like I need something to groove to, because it's a damn good song.
If someone showed up to my house right now with a bottle of literally anything and the Blu-ray for Big Order, I'd always be down.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That shit is like primo
bad anime night time.
No, yeah, it's like on the level of Ice Cube's War of the Worlds. Like just
Yeah.
I will say I would rather watch Big Order than rewatch Ice Cube's War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has more redeeming qualities, and it's worse when it's bad.
Oh man. On that note, I actually like this season working on Hottest Trash just had cause for the first time in ages to shout out Big Order. Because Petals of Reincarnation is the edgiest JoJo like this side of Big Order.
Yeah.
And Miles, you might get a kick out of it.
I mean, I did get that kind of vibes from episode 1, but I didn't think it was going to go anywhere.
No, when they introduce like they introduce like 50 dudes all at the same time, and it's like so obvious that they're all going to die in the next couple episodes, right? But the dudes they introduce are like Charles Darwin, and he can like morph his body parts into any animal. That's his power, evolution. And then like the Wright brothers, who are of course they're the right waifus, and you know they can fly. And then you get to Erwin Schrödinger, who is a cat man, and he has the power to insert himself into any parallel timeline that he wants, and also anyone around him. So he doesn't have to aim guns. He just shoots in your general vicinity and then swaps to a timeline where you were in front of the bullet. Or if he dies, he swaps to a timeline where he didn't die. And that's really awesome. But then he fights Adolf Hitler and Pol Pot.
I was about to say, I've seen him fight Hitler.
And Adolf Hitler's like, "What's the matter, Mr. Schrödinger? Can you not see any timelines where you survive?" And he's like, it's just...
That's pretty cool. Okay, that's pretty... Even if it's Hitler saying it.
Hold on, I'm making a note to clip that. I'm making a note to clip just the audio.
To be fair, to be fair, Hitler is actually a pretty cool guy.
That too. Thank you, everyone, for staying quiet while Geoff said that.
And Pol Pot. At the end, they're like, "Wow, I didn't know Hitler and Pol Pot were chill like that." Pol Pot has purple haze. Like, literally, his power is just purple haze from JoJo Part 5. It's fantastic. It's terrible, but it's fantastic.
And this is why Hottest Trash exists.
Yeah.
So my answer for this is the first episode of I've been killing Simons for 300 years and maxed out my level.
Okay.
Because I really liked the light novel.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked the light novel's first half way more than the second half, when it was basically just one witch all on her own before all the other characters came into being.
Cozy time.
When it was nice and cozy.
Yep.
Then when she gets her like pseudo harem, not to be confused with the anime pseudo harem, Geoff's favorite.
No,
I stopped caring at all.
Yeah.
Because all the other characters are so boring. And yes, did I buy the light novel at the Yen Press booth because I was harassing the Yen Press employees and wanted to not be a jerk, and it had really cute art by Benio on the cover? Yes. Did I watch the anime because I'm like, well, I like the first half of the light novel and hoped that it would get better? Yes. Was I disappointed? Massively. But that first episode or two, still peak.
I like those cozy shows. And I mean, you can transition into some forms of, like, I won't say harems because I don't feel like that's worked out well, but like you can transition into either civilization building or other group related things and still keep a cozy vibe. It's just doesn't work
you can
often.
very easily keep a cozy vibe while moving into harem territory. Like
The Water Magician actually did a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
Did it?
That's like one of the better aspects of it. I feel like the action side of it kind of falls off. I mean,
it was never good to begin with, but like it ended up like being. I watched way more of it than I thought I would have. How's that? For Water Magician.
Yeah, but yeah, harems are often cozy, I find.
Sometimes they make sense. Sometimes they don't make sense. Sometimes they're implied but non-existent, like in Farming Life in Another World.
God, that one really bothers me. Like the harem's basically just a statistic.
Well, the thing is that one is really bad when it comes to the anime because they try to pretend the harem doesn't exist. The manga doesn't. The manga straight up has an early scene once all of the elves arrive in what was season 1 of the anime. All the elves arrive, they build a house, and then they take our MC, throw him in a room, and be like, hey, we don't have any males in our tribe. We need to breed. Now. And they're explicit with it. All up until that point, it's all like, oh, being with the MC is really tough and everything. And it's like, they say it in such a way that you're like, oh, they're talking about farming, right? They're not talking about farming. They're talking about doing the dirty. But it's like kind of implied either way. It could go either way. But then the elves show up and like, no. He now has a nightly rotation of a different girl every single night. And still, somehow, nobody gets pregnant for 2 years. There's a lot of things.
You read a lot of that manga.
So I just got really pissed off by the anime.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the listeners at home, this is the 5th time Tristan has ranted about this to Geoff and I in one form or another. I think it's only the first or second time on the podcast. But please continue. Don't let us interrupt.
No, but that's kind of the thing is like I was watching this. I liked this first season. That's what got me into the stupidity of a mess. And then I just started to notice some cracks of where some things were like mentioned. And I'm like, but wait, that doesn't make sense. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because the anime decided, no, we're not going to talk about the harem at all. The harem doesn't exist. But that doesn't work because in the manga and in the light novel, he does end up having children. Those children, because this show takes place over the span of years, they grow up and become their own characters that will have their own story and reasons to exist. If you suddenly decide, hey, this isn't a real harem, the children will never exist or happen because we don't do that here, those characters suddenly don't exist. And what the hell are you going to do? And everything just kind of collapses in on itself in real time.
Maybe they'll just show up. Like it'll just be like, oh yeah, they were having sex off screen the whole time.
No, I think the reason they don't want to do it though is because he has children with different women, and that's the problem. He has like a lot of children. I mean, because he's sleeping with different women every single night.
The thing is that's one of the least taboo things in Japanese society, but.
And yet, here we are.
But nobody wants to admit it. So probably that. Or.
And I just don't understand why. Because I'm like, this is a harem. We all know it's a harem. Why don't, like, what's the problem? I don't understand why the anime is choosing not to make that leap.
It also bothers me that, like, a lot of the ladies in the harem just don't have names. Like, they're not named characters.
Well, that's because, like, the important ones are named, but then, like, when the whole elf tribe shows up, it's like, okay, well, now there are 30 elves. They're not going to name all 30 elves. I mean, they do. In the manga, they have names, and especially when they end up having children, then, as you say, it just becomes a statistic.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, it's like, oh, yeah, and by the way, these characters had children, and then everybody had a party, and then the people that haven't had kids yet suddenly decided, hey, it would be a really good idea now if I had a child. And then that becomes a problem for an MC. It just becomes a running gag. But yeah, it pisses me off because I'm like, why don't you just do the thing?
Man,
it's so easy. Just do it.
There's an anime this season that did the opposite of that. Like it's really baffling. It's called Marika's Love Meter Malfunction. It's on Ocean Vale, so like very few people. But here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. You hear me say it's on Ocean Vale, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I know what that. The manga's not like that. The manga's just like a mostly wholesome rom-com about this guy who can see the love meters of all the girls around him, and he can see his childhood friends, and it looks like it's empty because she loves him so psychotically much that it broke. That's the joke. That's the whole joke, and it's like a cute joke, and like it. I read like, I don't even remember how many chapters of the manga because it's like, it's fun, but it's a little forgettable, but it is fun. And for the anime, they decided to like insert just a scene of him or her daydreaming about having sex with each other into every episode, just into the middle of every episode with like no narrative justification. It just like pops up in the middle and then they like go back to what they were doing. It's confusing and off-putting, right? Like I'm not one to complain about anime boobs, but like
you heard it here first. Gratuitous hentai in Geoff's anime? No.
Hitler, though, that's cool.
Yeah, Hitler's fine.
I should note, it's also gender ambiguous Hitler. Theydolf Themler.
Theydolf I'm sorry, Tanya the Evil doesn't come out until...
I mean, if you want to get... Like, people are always like, oh, she's Lolly Hitler. No, she's Lolly Kaiser Wilhelm.
Man, I want to watch Tanya, but at the same time, the art style, like I can't do it. I keep wanting to be like, I want to watch this because everyone keeps talking so highly of it. And then I see
really
them
good.
drawing her like a frog, and I'm like, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I can't. She's so frog-esque, and I
Yazy also hates Kyupoche figures.
Oh,
and it's
that's
like,
what she looks like. You're right. She's just an animated Kyupoche figure. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting my finger on why I hate it so much.
Let's talk about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay,
Kaisen!
main quest time.
All right, Yazy, why does this belong on the list?
You know...
What is Jujutsu Kaisen, actually, before that?
What?
What is Jujutsu Kaisen? Besides your favorite anime? Besides the origin of Gojo?
Besides peak shonen yaoi? I actually had trouble sleeping last night because I feared this question so much, and I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. I was like laying in bed last night, and I was like, damn, I better not get put on the spot about...
Explaining Jujutsu Kaisen.
Hey, Geoff.
I was about to say, Geoff can do the what is part.
Are you using the Jeopardy phone a boyfriend line?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just interrupt you when you're wrong. It's fine.
Jujutsu Kaisen is a yaoi anime with
There you
shonen
go.
battle elements.
I've trained you so well.
Oh man, that's gonna get clipped. So Jujutsu Kaisen is a yaoi anime with shonen battle elements, where this guy named Yuji Itadori, one day he's just being good at sports and being good friends to the occult research club and being a good grandson to his grandfather who dies.
Who's kind of an
being
asshole.
a good generic main character in episode 1.
Yeah, and his occult research society friends are like, hey, we want to go to the school and check out this cursed thing. And they're like, he's like, okay, yeah, I'll hang out. And they find a sealed box of something in a box on their school grounds. And they open it up and they peel it open and it's a finger. And some spooky ghosts come to attack them. But just in time, this guy shows up and he's like,
Sasuke shows up.
Sasuke shows up and he's like, I can make dogs out of shadows and stuff. And he fights the monsters. But like,
hey, I watched that episode of Chainsaw Man.
Bigger and bigger monsters show up. And Yuji's like, oh, I got to help you. I'm going to eat this finger.
I'm gonna eat this finger,
and then he
gets fingered.
He gets fingered. He turns into a super powerful jujutsu user. Even though
sorcery fighter, a super powerful sorcery fighter. Even though, according to all the lore, he should have been possessed by the evil spirit of the finger called Sukuna. And because he can control it. They decide not to execute him with a lot of pushing from Satoru Gojo. And he's got to find all the rest of the fingers and then they'll execute him. And he wants to die a good death and make good friends along the way. And everything goes wrong and everyone suffers.
Everything just goes wrong and goes,
For 30 volumes straight, everybody suffers. The end.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And that's JJK.
And my God, there's a lot of
There we go. We're done. Where does it go on the list?
I guess the main thing, if you don't know JJK, the hook is the Jujutsu power system, which is there are curses which are embodiments of human anxieties and human fears and human hatred that are like their power is directly proportional to how much human anxiety there is around things. So like the stub your toe curse, somewhat scary. The volcano curse, absolutely kind of a bitch, actually. But then the human curse, terrifying, and so on. And then people can use their negative energy to fight back against them by channeling it into curse techniques. So instead of, life energy or aura or whatever you want to call it,
or mana,
it's like specifically feelings of like anger and sadness and stuff fuel the power system.
Negative
and that part of the classifications I was always fine with, but like I think one of the things that turned me off, because like before this podcast, I only watched season 1. I watched season 1 and I was done. And one of the things that bothered me, especially on my rewatch of season 1, was like they have this classification system wherein, there's this special class and Sakuna is a special class, and that's like, okay, well, he's a super uber.
Sukuna, not Sakuna. Sakuna is the farming girl from that.
Right. Anyway, so he's a special class. He's super awesome, powerful. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You're trying to set up, hey, we have these classifications. This is what these characters would normally deal with on a day-to-day basis. But he's super special. He's relevant to the plot. Okay, cool. Then they keep running into special grades. And I'm like, well, what is even the point of introducing the fact that you have pre-special grades if everything from this point is just special grade? It's like you need now tiers of special grade. And I feel like it took them a bit to really nail that down.
Well, yeah, but that was part of the thing. They were also like, guys, why are there so many special grades? What's going on?
It's like a significant part of the story.
That was in fact part of the story where they were like, guys, this isn't supposed to happen.
But I understand what you're saying, Tristan, that it's like it feels like it's flattening out the power scale. Luckily, I don't think it actually runs into that problem, because
I wouldn't necessarily say it's flattening. It's more like it's exponentially changing, because it's like if you have your scale and the special scale is at the end of it, but then you have like two characters that are special scale, but even they are like so far apart from one another, you can't even classify them.
But that's
like,
how
that was the problem.
No, I mean, like, look at it in the ELO system. Like, once you're in the pros, you still suck compared to like Magnus Carlsen in chess, right? Like, you actually, that only once you're like ranked in the top 1,000 players do you understand how much you suck compared to the top couple percentage
10 players. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I get it, but I
from
also,
that perspective, okay.
Like, so like I play Magic the Gathering. When I make it to Mythic,
did you?
I don't make it into the percentages, let alone into the top 1,000 very often. I've done it. I've made it into the percentages once ever, right? I just don't play enough also. I'm not good enough and I don't play enough.
Compounding
like,
issues.
Yes. But like those are the difference between players in that strata is huge. It feels actually bigger than from beginner to that. So this is actually just the law, the power law.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what is kind of interesting about it to me as a battle series enjoyer is that it exists like almost entirely at that top level. Like there's a few onboarding fights at the start where like the guys are, fighting regular curses and doing regular jobs just to like get a sense for the job that they do, right? But then, like, by the third fight, oh, surprise, there's a special grade here. It's killed all of you. And then, like, from there, it's basically all dealing with special grade curses and, the higher level problems of the world. But it doesn't feel poorly justified in the way that, some anime that skip their training arcs do, because...
I mean, I just kind of wish that in universe then that they just remade their classification system and explained it to everybody instead of just leaving it. Because they spent the time to explain the system to us. And then I'm like, oh yeah, and then we just immediately throw it out.
Well, I mean, thematically, the fact that the entire old power paradigm that Jujutsu Society is built on is outdated and doesn't really work anymore is a significant thematic part of the story, right? Like the people who are in charge of that system are canonically dipshits who Satoru Gojo specifically wishes he could kill because he hates them so much. Like the rot at the heart of Jujutsu society is a significant,
very conservative
story.
Rot.
Yeah. This conservative perspective of like thinking in terms of like A grades and special grades and all this, when like the whole power like ecosystem has completely outpaced it, is one of the more significant themes. So that works for me, and I also think like it just does a really good job of justifying characters evolve their skills dynamically by fighting, as opposed to, you know, like there's the baseline training to get like a handle on your powers, but then you get that like Toto conversation where he's like, you know, he's like, you can become strong, my brother. And then he like explains black flashes and all that stuff. And it's very much not a slow grind up to the next power tier. It's, you know, some people just got the sauce and some people don't. And you find out which one you are.
It's very fitting for a shonen battle series.
Yeah.
It really helps to grease the wheels in that respect.
Yeah, I think it works a lot better than, say, Demon Slayer, where they've got like, you know, training arc, mid-level fight, high-level fight that tests them, training arc, mid-level fight, high-level fight that like it's just got that very predictable rhythm.
By comparison, I think Demon Slayer is a lot closer to like the old school DBZ. Goku needs to train to defeat the next thing, gets beat by the next thing, new training arc, got to add some more weights and be in the 0G for a bit longer. It's very similar to that, while JJK is just like, no, we're just going to skip all that.
JJK is more Hunter x Hunter Bleach, where like it's just throw them into the deep end and they sink or swim.
And, you know, because they're the protagonists, they swim.
Except when they don't.
Well, that's actually one of the things. I never can predict a fight in this. It feels
that's why
just
I love it.
The right amount of subversive, right? Like it feels like
but
it is.
They always win, don't they? They always win.
Huh?
Did you finish the series, Tristan?
But this is the series where the character says, nah, I'd win. Of course. Everyone is going to win.
We're not into the spoilers yet, but like even by the end of the second season, it's like very clear that like, no, even in the beginning, first
episode 4 of the first season, the main character,
dies. Yes.
Yeah. Well, in like episode 12, the person he's protecting dies.
Yeah. The person who they've like explicitly set up as, here's the new guy on the squad. We're going to have like a conversation about right and wrong. And he's going to like figure out the error of his... We're
going to put him in the opening. We're going to...
Yeah.
He's going to stay with everyone in the opening. Yeah.
And he gets a little slap on the face and suddenly he's a alligator monster. And you cry a lot.
Yeah.
I love Junpei. I actually quite like his character.
It's really like fantastic writing across the board.
Gege really excels when it comes to his spooky stuff, like he did with Junpei and Junpei's mom.
Oh man, yeah, like the way that Junpei's mom gets it is so like scary.
Unfortunately, they left
like,
it out of the anime,
scary.
I believe, but in the manga, he like spent a bunch of time with her body and stuffed her body with ice, and then took her clothes and wore her clothes and stuff. Yeah. I love Gege's horror writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he moved her body upstairs. He stuffed her body with ice to like keep her body from going bad, and then went through her closet and picked up clothes from her closet. I love Junpei.
That's like that's some Hitchcock level shit.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's only in the manga. They took it out in the anime, but in the manga it says that her mom so there's a whole black page that describes, you have to actually read.
Right.
You have to read, which is the problem. That a lot of people's complaints from JJK come from them not reading, but or just not fully being there and not thinking. But like when
we're not taking notes during the explanation of what the culling game rules are.
Yes, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got I had to like whip out my like blueprints journal to like, oh, what are these rules? Ooh,
Yeah,
new rule.
the culling games
cool.
rules are definitely easier in manga form when you have time to stare at the page and like really take it in. But yeah, Junpei's mom was killed downstairs and then her body was found in bed upstairs, stuffed with ice packs, and her clothes were missing. And Junpei even says he puts on his favorite outfit of hers. That's why he changed outfits. It's her clothes. Anyway, read. You got to read. And that's why I love JJK though, is because there's Gege writes so many things that you can easily just skip over and miss. And then when you go back and read it for the fifth time, and when you go back and read it, you're like, God damn, Junpei, like that's crazy. You took your mom, half of her body, only half of her body was there. The lower half of her body was missing.
Got eaten.
But yeah, it got eaten. But he took half of her body upstairs and stuffed it with ice bags and spent time with it. That's weird. I love Gege.
Yeah.
I love Gege Akutami's deep writing.
That is a level of character development that I understand why it wasn't in the anime.
Yeah. I mean, in the manga, it's also just a black page that, like, it's just a paragraph.
It's just all these detail. Like I'm remembering now. It's like a police report. Is it okay? How explicit is this black page though? Is it like implied?
No,
or
it literally says that her body was found upstairs in bed with stuffed with ice packs with the bottom half missing. It describes everything.
No. Well, yes, it describes it, but is it implied that he's the one that did it, or does it explicitly state that he did it?
No, it says that. I mean, it's implied.
It's implied,
but like he's also wearing her clothes. It says that somebody went through her clothes, and then he's wearing her clothes.
Okay.
So, one thing that happened after the Junpei arc, though, or around that time, is that they got the feedback that JJK was too scary. That JJK was too spooky and that they had to tone it down, unfortunately. Like that was like actual feedback that was forced upon Gege, is that the whole Junpei arc was too scary. Also, when you were talking about how Yuji dies in the first few episodes.
Yeah.
That was actually potentially the end of the series. It was on the chopping block. So he just did the craziest thing he could think of, which was to rip Yuji's heart out. And if that's where it ends, that's where it ends. And then the readership went up so much because he ripped Yuji's heart out that they were like, all right, let's keep going.
A part of me, like when he first died, and I was just like, okay, I know he's not dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening. But a part of me thought, it was just like, what if he did though?
Wait, what if they just commented him here?
Well, the answer to that is season 3. Again, I don't want to get too much into the spoilers just yet. I guess we can, but
might as well at this point.
Yeah, okay, we're into spoilers. Yuji is like barely the protagonist of this anime.
That's also, I think, a reason why I like it so much, though. I don't love when I get stuck with the same character for so long. That's another reason why I fell in love with Haikyuu. Haikyuu does the same thing, where you spend so much time with other teams that you can not see Hinata and the gang for multiple chapters and stuff.
And then they come back and it's like a homecoming.
Yeah, it's a good break from them. And that is actually something I think that drew me to JJK, is the fact that I'm not just stuck with the same guy's story for so long.
Yeah.
Okay, now
I think that's the Hunter x Hunter influence.
You're not going to get me to watch Hunter x Hunter, Geoff.
No, because like Hunter x Hunter, like it
Hunter x Hunter is almost... No, it follows. I can't say that because Kiro's arc is kind of my favorite arc of the whole series.
Yeah.
But like with some exceptions, it's almost majority Gon.
Well, no, because like Gon is the main character of a few arcs. Kurapika is the main character, I would argue, of Yorknu, and the current arc of the manga is like all Kurapika.
And considering that Yorknu is my favorite arc, I would love to see that adapted.
but all of like. Even, the Chimera Ant arc, like, Gon is in it, but the main character of that's Meruem, I would argue. Like the actual arc shifts perspective halfway through, and it's really everybody. And that, like JJK is heavily inspired by Hunter x Hunter. Like Gege literally calls it out in the big fight with Toji, Mahito, and Yuji.
Todo.
Yeah, did I say Toji? Toto. Oh my god. I have him right back here. He's literally my favorite guy in existence.
That's your Oshi.
And yet,
did I say Toji? Damn, I should kill myself. What? Toto. Toto calls it out, right? Like he's like, applause is an acclamation of the soul. And he's literally quoting the big final moment between Meruem and Netero in the Chimera Ant arc, right? And it's like a fake out, but it works on like a bunch of levels because Toto and Yuji are both Shonen Jump bros, right? Like that's one of the subtle things that they bond over. So he's like, there's just so many layers there. But main point, you don't know who the main, or like Yuji is the main character, but he's not.
And I actually think that works really well for this. I normally like following a main character, but with a story like this, it kind of is just very flexible to where it needs to be in the moment. And I found it working pretty well. It also does feel like it didn't feel like it was planned that way. It feels like it's just kind of following the momentum of the characters, both internally and externally. And I don't really have an issue with that because it still feels pretty tight. So I know that there's not that much more of the manga left to adapt.
Yes, we're over the halfway point, yeah.
So how do you feel, Miles, of the fact that it's not over yet and we're still watching it anyway?
Not so bad, because I feel like I really have a good sense of it. This, like, to me, Jujutsu Kaisen is, you remember in like the late 90s, early 2000s, there's a bunch of Western media that was making fun of anime, mostly making fun of Dragon Ball, but like making fun of anime at large, where it's like, oh, the over exclamate, and like sometimes Speed Racer, like the side characters explaining what's happening to the main characters, and all these confusing overlapping things like, oh no, then he's going to do this, but then if he does that, then he'll do this. And it's like Jujutsu Kaisen is like the perfect version of that.
Yeah, for real.
Like Jujutsu Kaisen's that unironically, unabashedly, without irony. And it's just so good at doing that the whole time through that like, I'm very...
Every time the narrator explains something, you're just like, hell yeah. And it gives you just enough to understand what's going on, right? Like,
not enough. Not enough.
No,
I could have rewatched it and felt like I understood it 10 times better.
I do think that you have to be locked in, unfortunately. And that's where a lot of criticism of it comes from, is people who are not used to having
aren't
to
fully
truly
paying attention,
lock in while they're watching a shonen series, or reading it. It even suffers.
Well,
with
I mean,
reading.
yeah, historically, like shonen would probably be the equivalent to like an exercise series where you just turn it on while you're doing
series.
something else.
Yeah,
because a lot of them, like, they just had hundreds of episodes or what have you, or you just a lot of episodes, and you're like, I got to get through it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is what Torishima was complaining about, though, when he was like, all these shonen series are like they take too much thought. They're making them for adults and not children. And that is, I think, what upsets people about Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, like a lot of
like,
JJK's criticism can be boiled down to you weren't paying attention, or you don't get it. And I feel like a lot of people brush off a lot of things by being like, you just don't get it, which makes this argument hard to have. But when it comes to JJK, I actually think that a large amount of the criticism can just be boiled down to you don't get it.
But I also think that the anime is helping with that a lot, right? Because the manga is, I think, brilliantly written, right?
I think the manga is incredible, and it needs to be read slowly and not via Twitter screenshots.
Yeah, and it definitely should actually be read and not picked up via osmosis from people tweeting about leaks 5 days before it's actually out. But
3 days. That's what's worse. It was like 3 days.
Oh yeah, 3 days. Yeah,
which
you're
is
right.
bad.
People could have waited.
Shut up for 3 days.
I know. No respect, no like courtesy to anybody else in the fandom.
I have very strong feelings about JJK's like culture and what it did.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, it like my main point is like, one, it works better when you're reading it or watching it all at once, right? Like going week to week, you could go back over and like reread the parts a bunch of times, but like there are like clarifying details in basically every new chapter about like how a power works or like what's really going on with a fight or what, you know, the interiority of the characters. And it's all, as you know, as Miles said, it's very much driven by the characters more than it is by like a simple plot structure, right? Like everybody kind of has their own agency in what's going on. And it feels like you have to reread it a couple times to like fully get what's happening. But the anime does a really good job, I think, of bridging the gap to the important stuff and like, you know, focusing the viewer's attention to the point where they can cleanly follow everything and won't be as confused. Like even the culling games rules, yeah, it's nice to be able to pause them and reread them. But I do think that episode is actually like, Miles, you can attest to this as someone who's given a lot of PowerPoint presentations before. It's a really engaging PowerPoint presentation.
So the thing is, when I say like all the overcomplicated rules, to me, this is the opposite of an insult. Like,
yeah.
It is. I live for this kind of like, and it's not even bloated. Like to Tristan's point, it feels like whenever they explain a rule that is then irrelevant, I'm like, are you serious? You just made me think here and sit here and think really hard about this just for it to not be relevant. Like I get the tension there, but it does usually pay off very quickly. And two, the explanations are really good. I remember seeing this complaint on Twitter of them overanalyzing or like over animating, one of the like talkie scenes in the culling game. And I'm like, how do you over animate something? And then I'm like looking and like, there are moments of limited animation here that are so much more powerful.
Those are my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Not just with JJK, with anything. We talked about that when we did Sentenced to be a Hero. There were a lot of talking moments where they like jumped the animation sky high, and it's just like they didn't need to do that, but I love it when they do.
And even when they did it, I mean, there's very little limited animation in this series, but even when they do it, it feels very profound because they're like treating it like it's, you know, they're the Fleischer brothers in the 1940s or whatever, otherwise, or 50s otherwise.
Well, I mean, there is like a surprising amount of limited animation if you actually know what to look for, but it's like very well disguised. And like the storyboards just make it feel like a natural part of the direction. And okay, so I've been wanting to talk about that side of it with you guys, you know, since season 2 finished, because season 2 is like supremely cinematic as well. But season 3, every episode is just cinema, right? Like throw your hands up, Martin Scorsese, right? Like,
I mean, they are. I am seeing.
You mean? No,
they
Jeff's
are,
right.
No, hold on. I am seeing them aping a lot of stuff that is extremely cinematic and referencing a bunch of stuff that's very cinematic. It is extremely cinematic.
But
there's no but. I wouldn't go as far as like I wouldn't put my arms up in there and say this is cinema. I was deeply engaged.
Okay,
period.
so like
there's no but. I just like when you say this is cinema, and then I look at something like the things at the top of our list right now. That's where I'm like, yeah, extremely cinematic for a TV show, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the difference between.
There it is. It's not a movie.
I don't
lost
even,
him.
Dude.
I knew Geoff was going to disagree with this part.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing is, I don't want to make this complaint. I don't. I really don't.
Then don't.
Because no. you were the one who pushed me on it because I was going to not even leave it but. Because I think it is deeply cinematic. It is cinema. It is beautiful. The boarding is wonderful. The direction is wonderful. The ambiance is wonderful. The everything about this is just high art as middlebrow gets, right? There we go. The but doesn't matter because it's only in comparison that I have an issue with it because it's really the best at what it does.
Yes, I agree fundamentally with what you're saying. Although, one, you called out that it's riffing on other stuff, and I think
it's not a problem.
Yeah, I think that's the opposite of a problem, right? Like
as long as they do it, like referencing is fine as long as you do it well.
Like in the Maki episode, it's clearly doing a Kill Bill, right? But like, it's doing such a good Kill Bill.
God, I loved that episode.
This is exactly what I mean of like me being like, wow, this is really good. It's not as good as Kill Bill. Well, no, that's my problem. I'm like, wow, this is really good. But because it is trying to be like something else, then it makes the comparisons. And then my reaction is,
but it's not Kill Bill.
I see the delta. And then it's like, okay, then I don't want to feel anything other than positive things because while I'm watching it, I'm feeling such a high. And when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, damn, that was so cool. Is my Jujutsu Kaisen experience. So please minimize your questions that make me compare it to other things. Thank you.
So like, that's, to me, I'm like, damn, this is like 95% of the way to a Kill Bill on a TV budget, right? And like, yes.
And I don't care about the budget. There's
a delta, but also it does interesting and
don't make it draw comparisons.
But it also splits off from the Kill Bill in interesting ways that support what it's doing narratively. Like it's sampling bits of that and mixing them in with other things. And
I would say if you draw an obvious comparison, you better be really fucking confident in it. And the way it does it here works very well for what Jujutsu Kaisen is trying to do. And all that does to me is show the difference. So sorry for watching cinema and then seeing this like A++ fucking TV show that is still extremely good and like never lets off the gas the whole time. And every episode is like a banger. Every episode. There's not a bad episode in this show.
And I would say there's a few episodes where like the cinematic quality is just at movie level, like the fight with Higuruma, for example, toward the end of
right. And what you said here is my key point,
or the non-fight.
There are a couple episodes that are of the level I'm wanting.
Yeah. The fight with Higuruma. I mean, the final, like the last episode of season 3 is just like insane. I can't believe that they did that on TV.
I mean, it is also the thing of, hey, it's so good to be cinema. And all I'm hearing in the head is, yeah, but some of this actually was in cinemas, though.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Hidden Inventory is 5 episodes of movie quality animation, movie quality direction, movie quality acting, to the point that they were able to put it in theaters and
not movie quality, film quality.
Film quality. You're right.
Quality.
Yeah, like Hidden Inventory, they were able to transplant to theaters and it works perfectly.
Yeah,
like,
you guys haven't seen the movie cut of it, huh? I mean, it's not a movie cut, but the movie version of it.
There are so few film compilations of it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yazy, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying, I was like, oh yeah, you guys, because you guys just watched it. I'm assuming you didn't watch, when you watched it, you watched the TV run and not the...
I read that it didn't take anything out. It just had the opening endings.
Yeah, okay. No, it didn't. But that's what I mean, is it just flowed together.
As a movie.
And so
that's how they designed those episodes.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I did watch them all together in one sitting at least.
And so it felt like cinema, right? Like...
Which is, again, my problem, because then I watched the rest of the season and it wasn't at that level.
Mostly, except for the episodes where it is, right? Like,
right, but that only, again, draws out the distinction, so please stop asking me about this.
So if you were to put it up against Wings of Omiane's, Miles...
Well, that's my point. So this is the problem, which is, you guys... I can't...
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Not only is comparison the thief of joy, because that actually did negatively affect my viewing experience when, like... it was making those riffs, and I'm like it did a good job doing it, right? But like, to me, Chainsaw Man did a better version of those references because they were a little bit more oblique and didn't immediately rush the one-to-one comparisons to mind. And so, like, again, this is a personal matter, and this is me like saying like, I don't want to hold that against this because it is so good every episode.
Do you mind if I change the topic and ask if you guys had a favorite episode? I already know
Please.
what Jeff's favorite episode is, I think. But I mean, and of the whole series, I'm not just talking season 2. I know you guys are talking about season 3, but I'm just curious from a super fan point of view, do you guys have a standout episode or couple of episodes together?
I don't think so, but I mean,
Damn.
okay, this isn't a JJK thing in general. Like, I was probably going to end up on this point eventually when we got to the ranking, but I'll start it off now. There's usually a reason why when shows like this come up. So like when JJK first came out, when Demon Slayer first came out, I would usually watch like one season and then be done with it. And it's just one of those, I don't always find these kinds of narratives fully engaging. I find it very hard to lock in. And especially as you've mentioned, Yazy, this is very much a show where you need to lock the fuck in. And I've always find it very hard for myself to do that. I don't get as invested as I know I should be. And so like when you ask me what's my favorite, I'm just like, oh, it's all fine. So I don't like have individual moments, but that's not JJK specific. That would be the same thing if you asked me favorites for Demon Slayer, if you asked me the favorites for Bleach, if you asked me the favorites for like pretty much any shonen that I've ever watched. It's one of the reasons why, like, I think if Geoff or Miles go and look at our old chart, I don't have a lot of shonen in my top 100 at all. It is not a genre that vibes with me the same way as other things do.
Yeah, it's not usually one that vibes with me either, personally. I think
And
that
yeah,
I have consumed 3 Jump series in my entire life, ever. And this one was kicking and screaming too, frankly. Geoff tried for years. Have you guys ever heard the story of how Geoff tried to get me into this? Oh my God.
Into JJK? We just kind of assumed that like you came out of the womb already a JJK fan.
The other 2 are The Promised Neverland, which to me ties in with like, that's another series that a lot of people, I know the ending was unfortunately a flop of the manga, even it was forced to end sooner than they wanted it to, which is unfortunate. But The Promised Neverland is another one that people, if you weren't locked in for while reading it, you missed so much of what made it incredible. If you weren't thinking outside of the lines and reading into what they were saying, and just taking it in surface level, you missed half the series. And that's, there's a lot of like criticism towards The Promised Neverland. The same way with JJK, there's a lot of criticism that's just if you're just reading the words on the page and not thinking about them, that's it. And then the other one's Haikyuu, the only other Jump series I've ever enjoyed and carried out.
No Kurobas?
No. What?
When you were a kid, you liked Dragon Ball.
I mean, I'm talking about like the Dragon Ball.
I mean, Trunks was your first anime crush.
He was. He was. But my JJK origin story is that Geoff spent, and this is the only place you'll ever catch me admitting it, by the way, because I have an ongoing thing where I'm always like, Geoff, why'd you keep this from me? I maintain that Geoff kept it from me, but the reality is that Geoff spent years trying to get me onto JJK. When season 1 was airing, he was like, you want to watch this with me? I think you'll like it. And I was like, no, I don't like shonen. And then he got a screener for Zero, and he was like, you want to come watch it with me? I think you'll really like this. And I was like, no, I don't want to. He's like, it's a movie. It's the you can jump in here. I think you'll like it. And I was like, no. And then he watched it. He was like, I really think we should go back and watch it. And I was like, no, I don't like shonen. And then he got a screener for Hidden Inventory when it started a couple days before. And he watched it. He was like, you have to watch this. And I was like, no, I don't like shonen. And then towards the end of Hidden Inventory, I was scrolling TikTok and I saw an edit of the Hidden Inventory opening to Die Young by Kesha. And I put my phone down and I was like, can I watch Jujutsu Kaisen? And we literally watched the entirety of season 1 across 2 days and then caught up on Hidden Inventory. And I read the manga.
And the rest is history.
And we watched JJK Zero.
That's the only, I've hit the limit on the Jump app twice in my life. And that was when I started The Promised Neverland and when I started JJK. Those are the 2 times I've ever hit the limit on the Jump app. And yeah, literally changed my life. Like, completely
altered your brain chemistry in a day.
It unironically changed my life, though. Like, my life has changed because of JJK. But for years,
life has changed.
I did spend a very long time saying no to it and saying I don't like shonen. And then I saw one edit of those damn homos to a Kesha song, and it was just the opening. It wasn't even like
for me though. It's not like I don't like shonen. I just don't I don't lock in with shonen. I'm fine watching shonen. I can appreciate shonen. When people tell me, oh, I love JJK, I understand why. When people say FMA is the greatest thing that they've ever witnessed, I understand. I just also would not do the same thing and say, no, that is peak. Or it's peak, but it's not the peak.
It's not your peak. Yeah.
No, yeah.
It's not
It is a peak. There are many mountains in this range. I have my own little mountain.
And speaking, to answer your question, Yazy, and to kind of flow off of the hidden inventory is my favorite part.
Of course it is. I knew it would be as soon as like.
Well, it made me a little mad I didn't watch season 2 earlier, to be honest. Because I'm like, the thing is, I really like Yuji as a main character, but I think that the older generation is just more fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Well, for what it's worth, Gaeta never wanted to write about high school kids. He never wanted to do a trio. He never wanted to do high school kids. And I feel like
that's clear.
You can tell he didn't want to. Yeah, when he didn't.
Like you can tell because like only one member of the trio survives like half of anything that happens
at all times. Yeah, at all times, one of them's gone.
Yeah, like literally, Yuji comes back and you get like 20 minutes with him, Megumi, and Nobara on an adventure, and then it's like, oh,
and there goes Nobara.
The Shibuya incident's happening. Have fun, kids. You'll never have fun
when
again.
I first watched season 1 and Nobara showed up, I was just like, okay.
She's
like
great.
This.
She great.
She is good.
Man.
I also like. There's a complaint that she gets fridged, and I understand that perspective, but I also think that like her fate is handled really well, right? Like she goes out swinging, right? Like it brings huge like yes, it is used
it's not
for
the
Yuji's
traditional Spider-Man based fridge where they literally just get stuffed in a fridge. Yeah.
But like
I get it.
Like she's in the middle of the fight with Yuji, and like it's his screw up that like gets her got, right? And that just like adds to that despair. And you know, maybe I'm biased because that is a prelude to my favorite fight. Because
that's what I assumed when I said
Yazy's question. Yeah, because like that's the one I made a big video about. And on a lot of levels, it is my favorite fight in the series still, in terms of like strategy, the like thematic depth of Yuji's conflict with Mahito, and like the depths that they drag each other down to, right? Like you wouldn't think that the embodiment of everything evil about humanity could be brought down to a lower level, but Yuji manages it. Yuji manages to legitimately piss Mahito off to the point that like he loses any sense of dignity he might have had. And Todo helps. Like Todo, I love the little detail that everyone hates Todo, that he's like the smartest guy in the entire class, and he knows it. And he's just like not apologetic about telling anybody what he thinks at any point. He's like the most annoying kind of guy, but also the best guy. So I love that.
King, yeah.
I love that on a lot of levels. But if you're asking me like my favorite individual episode, I actually think it's the Higuruma episode,
or the episodes, right? I mean, episode, little cluster of plot,
the two episodes, but specifically the second episode where like they get to the final trial, right? And like Yuji's like, yeah, I did that shit, and like that whole turn on the fight, and like moving from this like highly kinetic action scene to just like Higuruma really wrestling with, oh, this is a genuinely good person in front of me. And like, I like having his entire sense of justice that he thought he abandoned thrown back at him in 1 second with like one exchange is just that's what I mean. Cinema, right? It's pure cinema. And it's all show don't tell, right? Like they just like
they tell you a lot. They do tell you a lot.
Well, yeah, they give you a lot of numbers in the equation, but it's, they still leave the 2 + 2. They leave you to get to the 4, right?
They do, but they've by that point taken the blackboard out and taught you all the different equations you'll need to get there.
Yeah, for sure.
Very carefully. And like, I'm not like, for a show that subverts my expectations more than I would have expected, I would say that if you are taking good notes, lots of things are choreographed, which is actually, to me, a good sign. But my other answer to the best episode is the last episode I've watched, which is Sendai Colony.
That was
and I should
incredible.
probably...
Yeah.
I should probably watch Jujutsu Kaisen 0, huh?
You should.
Yes, you should.
You should.
Because that was 23 minutes where I was like holding my breath the whole time.
Yep.
I'm like, what is happening? And like, again, I don't want to make the like, this is cinema proclaimants. Because again, it just shows one of the challenges with like trying to do 40 or 50 or 60. That was episode like 60 or something, really. When you put it all out.
Oh, yeah, man. You know nothing about Rika and Yuta. Oh, I mean, forgot that's the actual plot of Zero. Sorry. Yeah, we got I forgot.
I picked up a lot from just like context clues. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing anything, but I feel like it'll be a richer experience. But also not knowing Yuta's backstory at all.
When he shows up to kill
Yeah,
Yuji.
I guess that would make his whole I'm going to kill Yuji even crazier. Or maybe less crazy since...
Less crazy. I don't think
because you didn't know what he could do.
But you were like, why is he in Africa right now?
and like, who's this guy? Like, some guy is coming to kill Yuji, all right. Whereas if you've seen JJK 0, you're like...
But also, I thought we liked Yuta. Why is this happening? I thought we liked and trusted Yuta the most.
Well, and it turns out you can trust him. Like, that's the thing. Whenever it subverts your expectations, it's very well justified with everything that builds up to it. And when it doesn't, it's also well justified.
Well, this is what I mean about the note-taking thing of like, oh, you can kind of piece it together, and that's what makes me feel like, oh, this is a pretty tight, for how long it is, this is very tight writing, in a way that I'm really satisfied with.
Soon it'll be a tight 90 episodes.
I do believe it's in the same vein as Carl, where it's like, it's just like when you are such a genius, you can make things that don't seem like things you didn't plan for come together in a way that makes it seem like you meticulously planned for it. And Jujutsu Kaisen does that pretty well. But like in that, like spoilers are a occupational hazard for me. So I knew enough about what happened in Zero to be like, not surprised, but also if I hadn't even known anything and hadn't seen any fan art and was completely ignorant, I wouldn't have considered it any different than any other character introduction, to be completely honest. And I think I still would have been just as gripped, grapples.
Yep.
Because like the stakes are perfect at every arc. By the way, the escalation of how crazy things are and what the stakes are, it's just like the right level up to we're like already dealing with like god level powers as far as I'm concerned, but it felt like we earned it. And like to the point Tristan was making earlier, like I'm seeing where we're at in like that special grade
escalation
that feels like, oh, and yet still fights happen in ways I don't expect, and they're always very clever.
Yeah.
And I think that the braininess is why Geoff has been such a big proponent of those fights, because it's like it's not who's strongest, it's who's got the right strategy, not even like who wants it more, who's the better fighter. It's who's got the better strategy for this moment in time in this specific place. And it's not just like One Piece where it's like, we're going to 1v1. You're going to figure out like, here's who Sanji's going to fight at the end of the arc.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's two people fighting. Oh, now it's a third person came in and like the
domain expansion. I consent to the domain expansion. I consent to the domain expansion. I consent to the domain expansion. I don't. I like how metal tastes.
I also, if I recall correctly, the manga went on break after that drop of the three-way domain expansion. Can you imagine how that felt? If I recall correctly, it went on break. It ended on all three of them saying...
For how long?
It would have been at least a week, but might have been 2. That was around the time when Gege was getting sick for the first time, I believe.
If it was like a break of like months.
No. But still, when it's week to week, to be like, and now you get nothing. Bye. It's like...
Yeah. Oh man, like Gege had health issues leading into that.
Times,
the first printing of the Maki killing her family arc is rough.
Yeah, it was still in the sketch phase, and that happened a couple more times to the series.
They put out the sketched pages instead of the finished pages because just Gege was in so much pain he couldn't finish it. But yeah, to what you were saying, it is a very cerebral battle series where like what I love is like even Satoru Gojo, right? Like they establish he's not just the most powerful guy. He's like, okay, so he's got eyes that can track everything, basically the Sharingan on steroids, right? Like, and those also give him the ability to like minutely follow the details of cursed energy, which give him like exponentially more control over his cursed energy, which amplifies the power of his infinity technique to the point that he literally has infinite energy and you can't touch him. And yet they still managed to justify a crazy, smelly homeless man stabbing him in the neck.
The chest, actually.
In the chest, right. Yeah.
And then the neck.
And then the neck and a couple other places. But like, and like the whole strategy that Toji follows there makes sense. And it doesn't just exploit the powers. It's also Gojo's character, right? His overconfidence in places.
His ego, yeah. Having like, here's my 47-step plan to hit this one guy's ego. And you walk through it and all of them work to the right just enough that it's like, oh, this is clever. Oh, someone really had to think hard about this. And the presumptions are not too off base, which is also crazy. Normally when you're trying to like mind, like Death Note it up of like, but if he thinks I'm eating the potato chip, like it usually gets into bullshit really quickly. And JJK does a little bit, but never to the degree of even Death Note, right? Like, and Death Note's an easy punching bag / best example of like good writing at the same time. And it feels like just so much more elevated than Death Note in that regard. I mean, Tristan,
I would unironically say that the best example of like mind games like that are well justified and character driven, but also like sometimes go to ridiculous places for the sake of comedy would be Kaguya-sama. That's one of my favorite things about Kaguya-sama.
There it is.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that because it's just factually not true.
It is. It's better at it than Death Note. It just is. It just is.
I do think that JJK taking itself seriously the whole time while still being open to having like a character be a bunch of receipts that you take seriously, right? Like this is the perfect balance for me of like, I'm so glad it takes itself seriously though. I'm so glad it doesn't give into the irony pilled like everything.
But I mean, that's kind of the thing.
The fact that it takes itself seriously is what makes a character like Reggie, or especially Takaba, so powerful, right? Like
you guys haven't seen nothing with Takaba yet either. Jeez.
The fact that I care at all is crazy. The thing is, the way that the JJK community has been treating this since I finished season 1, what was that, like 8 years ago now? How long? It's been a long time.
Yep. It's
7 years ago.
No, it's only 5 years. The anime is celebrating its 5th anniversary right now. So
I was working on it, so it has to be at least 5.
I've been going to the 5th anniversary events nonstop. I think it's in its 6th year right now, but it's the 5th anniversary they're celebrating right now since airing.
Yeah, it was. I was working on it just at the end of my run. So yeah, a little more than 5 years. Crazy. But I thought it was all hype and aura, and like
there's a lot of that though.
There is.
Yeah, Gojo like more than most any character I've ever seen in anything.
But there really is a lot of depth to it. A lot of depth, and there's actually, I mean, there's a lot of depth that everybody will always miss, which is sad. Because Gege didn't write it for a Western audience. He didn't write it for like an English speaking audience. And he also didn't write it for like a young audience, even though that's the target demographic of Jump, we know. He wrote it for a young adult audience who knows about Buddhism,
yokai,
and can read complex kanji. Because there's so much in the complex kanji, there's so much in the Buddhism lore that people will just never, ever get or understand. And that's sad. I
remember I had to like, I read, I don't know if I read a book or I took a like freshman seminar that talked a lot about Shinto concepts in Shinto. And like, that was actually very helpful for context for this.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big examples I bring up to everybody when I mention how much you're missing by not and I mean, even I'm missing so much of it by not understanding Buddhist culture and history and stuff like that, is, for example, Choso. His entire story is actually based off of a controversial piece of women's suffering, where him and his brothers are based off of these Buddhist paintings that depict the stages of death. And like literally the first stage is called Choso, the second stage is called Eso, the third stage is called Kechizu, which is their names and stuff, which is why his brothers are not viable or alive, because those further stages of death, you are no longer in a human body. But it's a very controversial piece of art, because only women were used. So they observed the death and decomposition of women's bodies and then painted them. And that's why he's called the death painting. And it was like very controversial for why was this only done with women. And then Choso's entire story is based off of the suffering and exploitation of his mother. And all of that gets missed. All of the lore about the death paintings and the controversy surrounding it and the kind of disrespect towards women surrounding it is completely missed if you don't know anything about Buddhism and you've never heard of these paintings before. And you just think of Choso as, why, I don't know why they call him a death painting, but okay.
And this is why you need to lock in.
Yeah. I mean, I really love Choso's entire story with his mother and what she went through and stuff.
But like there's a lot of
it's just
also
missed. It's just missed if you don't know about, and like I had to do my research just to find out about Choso's story, right? I spent a day reading about those paintings and stuff, and then finally I got it, and there's just so much that's missed.
Yeah, and it works as both like character building and like social commentary, right? There's a lot of like JJK is a very political work, but you have to be tuned into the religious and literary cultural context that it is written for, right? Like it's not pandering to Western sensibilities on every level or on any level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of what's so brilliant about it. I also like to what Miles was saying about the hype and aura thing. What's amazing about it is that it can be extremely literary and also hype and aura at the same time. One of like the moments that lives the deepest in my brain is like when Yuji's at his lowest moment and Todo comes to save him and he walks out quoting Heikei Monogatari, the sound of the Gion Shouja bells echoes the impermanence of all things. The color of the Sala flowers reveals the truth that the prosperous must decline. However, we are the exception. Like one of the most aura-filled statements in any anime ever. And it's a quote from the Tale of the Heikei, which like, I mean, some anime fans will know if they're like based and science saru-pilled, but like there's, you know, you get the basic gist of, okay, he's saying we built different, but like he's calling back to 1,000 years of Japanese history. And then like later he needle drops Hunter x Hunter in the middle of a fight, right? Like there's this idea that manga is serious literature baked into how Jujutsu Kaisen approaches itself. And I really, like, to me, it is the best shonen battle series out there, period. And I make a distinction of battle from shonen adventure, which encapsulates, I mean, I do like the anime more than Full Metal Alchemist, but like shonen adventure encapsulates One Piece and I would argue Hunter x Hunter is like
Mob Psycho.
Mob Psycho is a gag manga. Mob Psycho is a like straight up slice of life gag manga with battle elements.
With battle in it.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Like
I agree. I wouldn't put Mob Psycho as a battle series. There are battles in it.
Yeah,
but
yeah, like it. You could argue that it's a subversion of shonen battle series tropes, but I really Like structurally, I see it more as a gag series that just has battles as a mode of gag, like Gintama.
Because to me, so that's actually, while watching this, I was thinking, oh, this reminds me of the best arcs of Gintama, which I still prefer. But outside of those, and obviously the cinematic elements are much more elevated here, right? Like this is a much more satisfying watching experience. But like elevated visuals and slickness are not everything, as is the case with like Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer does very little for me, even though I recognize, like,
I went to go see Demon Slayer in theaters and I almost fell asleep.
I would argue, right? Like, I would argue that it, like, you could make the comparison to Demon Slayer, right? And
people have
to Chainsaw Man, right? I think Chainsaw Man's a more apt comparison. Because to me, it's not just like an audio visual elevation of the material. It's also a directorial elevation of the story, right? Like there is, that's why the cinema distinction is really important to me, because there's a lot of like subtext that is completely left unsaid in JJK that's carried by the camera work or the subtleties of the character acting, or like a million other things that aren't even really factors in 99% of shonen anime adaptations that have ever existed, right? Like, and I mean, if like just talking pure like raw production values, I think it is the best looking shonen anime out there, right? Like what's the competition? Chainsaw Man,
Mob Psycho, and Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. Like Mob Psycho, and I say Mob Psycho is a gag series. That's how I make that.
I would say like Demon Slayer has moments, but the average is lower.
Demon Slayer has polish, but I don't think it has sauce.
I agree with that. I don't think Demon Slayer is particularly impressive. It's just extremely polished and sparkly and pretty, but it's kind of it's all pizzazz, and there's not it's not
the
very
razzle dazzle.
It's the razzle dazzle, and I'm fine with the razzle dazzle. That I'm a big stupid American man. I like shiny colors, right? Like it's fine. I had a great time.
It's stuff like the fight with Choso and Yuji in the washroom, right? Where it's
Incredible.
like it's referencing The Raid, which I hope you've seen. I've seen The Raid.
I have not, so I did not pick up on
and
that.
The Raid too.
And The Raid too. But it like it's not just referencing it. It's using that specific like crunchy, very, very violent mode of action to like set a tone that is appropriate for two brothers who don't know that they're brothers beating the ever-loving hell out of each other.
So, yes, but, and I've already said it.
You're just like, okay, well, like I see the reference and it's doing the comparison as the Thief of Joy thing for me.
It's highlighting the places where Jujutsu Kaisen is not like, let me put it this way. When I see visual references or motifs in Chainsaw Man, they feel like they are adding to it. The Chainsaw Man experience, they feel like they're at home there. When I see those kinds of just like very like on the nose references and visual motifs lifted here, it feels like, oh, why am I not just watching the original? Right? Because I don't think it's as good as the original, even though it's very, very close. Like it's very, very close and it's very good. And I see what they're doing and I see how they're adding to it. I just don't feel like, let me just say it didn't work for me the way it worked for you.
Watch Kill Bill?
Yeah, why not watch Kill Bill?
Well, because Kill Bill isn't an anime. That's a good
that's
starting
actually untrue.
The parts where it is. There are some parts where, but like, I don't know. I kind of get what you're saying. Like,
if they did all this stuff in Chainsaw Man at like the appropriate times, I'd be way more into it, because I feel like Chainsaw Man is that vibe. And in Jujutsu Kaisen, I get what they're doing and it does work for me enough, but it doesn't work for me nearly as much as it worked for you.
Well, I mean, I guess Chainsaw Man is like textually referencing cinema a lot more, and that
Yeah.
like it's justified better in that sense. But like
Absolutely.
to me,
So at the end of Angel's Egg, Angel's Egg,
Oh no. No.
you see the camera zooming out for like 4 fucking minutes,
yeah,
right?
It feels a lot longer than that, man.
It is a reference
Oh no.
to a Tarkovsky film that is even longer. Where the
The
zoom out at the end
Tarkovsky
is,
film is like 20 minutes, isn't it? In the Tarkovsky
no, it's like
version?
6 or 7 minutes.
Still.
Was it Nostalgia or I forget which Tarkovsky has that. In my Oshi panel I used to like show a lot of things side by side of Tarkovsky and Oshi.
Nostalgia.
And those reference. Huh?
Is that the one where the guy carries the candle back and forth?
Yes.
Yeah, I've only seen that part of it because it's part of a puzzle in The Witness. You have to watch that entire scene to solve a puzzle in The Witness. It's pretty great.
Oh no, it's at the end of the mirror. Zircolo.
Oh.
Anyway, that it might be in both. Tarkovsky actually like to do that a lot. Why do I like it when Oshii does it and not like it when it's on Jujutsu Kaisen? It's for this reason. The same reason I like it in Chainsaw Man, which it doesn't do as on the nose in Chainsaw Man, even, which I think they could get away with, which is the purpose, the directorial purpose. Like Oshii made it his own in the same way that he turned like other people's IP into his own, right? Like with Ghost in the Shell and Urusei Yatsura, which are almost unrecognizable from their source material by the time he's done with them. Pat Labor even is just like a completely different, you can't tell that how many layers of paint are on there. And I think that is important to me when we're doing these kinds of references, because I was actually getting distracted. Maybe it's the film nerd in me getting distracted, but like, I think I'm harping on this too much.
I think it's
Watch Angel's Egg.
I think it's a valid perspective. Like, to me, maybe it's because like I'm not seeing all the references that JJK is making. I'm not like, I haven't watched
That
as many
film
movies
pill.
as you. But it's, to me, when I watch Chainsaw Man, right? Like, it feels like a slight step down from the manga for me.
Because the manga was the medium with Chainsaw Man.
Yeah,
that was what it was written around, and it's hard to adapt that into a different medium.
Chainsaw Man is one of the most like structurally brilliant manga I've ever read. It like understands the medium on a level almost nothing else does, right? And going from that to what feels like, like a competent, well-directed anime that is, it's taking the references and like, adding that layer of cinema and it's all...
What a great comparison this is, Geoff. The way you feel watching the Chainsaw Man anime is how I feel watching the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, because I've seen what it can be like when it's the true perfection.
But
the duality of man.
So to me, like what's working on Jujutsu Kaisen is it's taking all of these like cinematic modes in the same way that JJK, the original story, is like a medley of all sorts of different shonen battle influences, right?
They all are these days.
No, but JJK is more explicitly doing that as like a purposeful directorial decision. There's this moment in the first time that like Yuji really in Yuji's first interaction with Todo, there's this bit where the narrator explains that like Yuji devours the people he fights, right? And I have this kind of philosophy at the back of my brain that because weekly manga just requires so much of the author, they end up putting a lot of their own philosophy into their main characters a lot of the time, right? Like
authors never do that. I don't know.
But like specifically with how they fight, it reveals a lot about their approach to writing the manga. And like Yuji's approach of devouring the techniques of everybody that he fights and incorporating them into his own style is very much what Gege is doing with JJK, right? Like there's little bits and pieces, even in that first arc, right? Like we talk about, the Shibuya incident, and that's kind of like it evolves to a point where it's its own thing, right?
I was about to say the Shibuya incident was the first time I felt like JJK had its own identity. Truly,
that and Hidden Inventory, right? Like Hidden Inventory, but like the first arc of JJK feels like a greatest hits of everything that's ever been in Jump, like a greatest hits, like.
No, I think Demon Slayer did the greatest hits better. I understand what you're saying, but like,
so Demon Slayer did it cleaner, but JJK did it with more heart. And there, like, to me, the most brilliant example of that is the inner school competition arc, where it's like there's like a little bit of Soul Society mixed in there, a little bit of the Hiroaka USJ incident arc, where the villains invade, and it's like just little bits and pieces of a bunch of other manga that work, and it like comes together into its own thing. And by laying that groundwork and like being in conversation with all of these different pieces of shonen battle manga, when we get into Hidden Inventory, which is like very much a breakdown of the whole idea of the strongest guy, right? Like going back to Gojo's Goku rivalry stage of his life and like just the mistakes that made him who he is today. And then, the Shibuya incident, which is this brutal teardown of every hero's goals, and like, probably my favorite, the villain wins story, of like almost anything. I love the Shibuya incident so much. And then like the Culling Games, Gege has said in retrospect, he wishes he just made it a tournament arc. Because it's a little too complicated. Like it might be something where it would have been better to like bring it back to a little bit more of that influence. But like as a battle royale, it is incorporating a lot of different like things, and the sampling over time becomes more seamless. And then you get to the anime adaptation, where it is like clearly sampling from all these different cinematic influences that influence the creators on top of that. And to me, by the end of season 2, I would say, but definitely by the end of season 3, it becomes more than the sum of its parts, where you're like listening to kind of this, I'd say like greatest hits mixtape of all of these different influences.
So where's the sexy commando influence? If we're talking
I
about
was about
greatest
to
hits
say
from Jump.
that needs to be Yazy's next Weekly Shonen Jump adaptation.
Yeah, you definitely need to watch Sexy Commando. I feel like there's a little bit of Sexy Commando in Takaba, like just a little. Like Takaba is very much center man. That's his main.
I mean, that's literally.
That's where he got his costume. I love one. Like, there's very few stories that have introduced Toon Force as a power and made it work at all. But like, I love that Takaba has not Toon Force, but Manzai Force. And that's actually like a meaningful distinction that makes a difference in how he fights.
So where does it go on the list?
Yeah, we need to get to that.
We do. Yazy, where do you think it should
Number
be?
one.
Well, yes. Okay, that was a silly question. That was a very silly question.
That's why I asked it.
So to our commenters who are like, why do these people hate Cyberpunk Edgerunners? It's like, it's above Eiko. Do you know how much I love Eiko? How dare you?
I mean, Cyberpunk is above One Piece on our list.
Yeah.
We like anime here.
We do.
we
We
do.
like anime a lot.
I know it's in your top 10 of all time, Geoff. You made a video about it.
Yeah, I do. Like, I firmly believe that there is not a single better shonen battle anime out there, right? Like, we can talk manga. We can talk like Hunter x Hunter. I would argue better manga.
If Chainsaw Man season 2 is like the movie,
even then, okay, so one, Chainsaw Man isn't really a battle series. Chainsaw Man is a horror story, right?
isn't that what you said about JJK?
No, JJK is a battle series with horror elements, and Chainsaw Man is a horror series with battle elements. And like that is
and
a
they're
meaningful
both
distinction.
worse than Michiko to Hachin.
It's I don't know about that. Yeah, like Chainsaw Man, especially when you get to the end, which we're not going to spoil the end of the manga, but like the manga only really makes sense if you view it as a horror series first and a battle series second.
So we're on the list, Geoff.
No, we're on list Tristan. We know where Geoff wants to put it. I want to know where you put it.
Do we?
So,
I don't actually.
No, so the thing is, I have talked more than I thought I would because I feel like an ignoramus when it comes to this anime. But I do have a lot of big feelings, so I talked more than I thought I would. But Tristan, I want to hear a little bit more about where you want to put it to start because I want to hear just a little bit more because you sound like you were mostly on the board with what I was saying. Certainly on board with...
Like, I am mostly on the board with what you're saying, but then reinforcing how I've never really found myself locking in with shonen. I'm in that weird position where it's like, I can appreciate a lot of what JJK does, even if I'm just not like, this is necessarily my vibe. So if I was to put it on my list, I don't know if I would, but knowing our collective thoughts and where we're putting things in and around here, I'd probably put it just under Sentenced to Be a Hero.
That seems crazy to me.
Does it?
Yeah. The idea of comparing this to Sentenced to Be a Hero, and I know we're kind of giving Sentenced to Be a Hero a little bit more credit than it deserves because of its potential, which is the problem with doing things that aren't finished.
True.
But like, so to me,
But then like even beyond that point, it's like, would I put it higher than Dungeon Meshi? And like, I have a certain level of what Dungeon Meshi exists in my brain, plus the continued promise from Geoff that it only gets better than that.
Well, this is actually why you and I are extremely close on where we'd put it on the list, because I'd put it just above Sentenced to Be a Hero because I like Dungeon Meshi more.
But below Dungeon Meshi, okay.
But this is better.
Well, because that's the thing. It's like, I think the only reason that it stops it from going above Sentenced to Be a Hero for me is because of my not as much attachment to shonen in general.
You're more into fantasy than shonen battles.
Yes. So it's a personal preference.
And in terms of my shonen, I think the first Slam Dunk is like, to me, it's pound for pound. Like Slam Dunk is like, is like the peak of shonen. Like it's close to the peak of shonen. Like you can get. For me,
the thing is, I think probably if this was just hidden inventory in movie form,
no.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't think.
No, I think hidden inventory actually benefits from having everything around it.
I agree, but I was trying to.
No. It does. Separating it out actually would not help it at all.
Okay.
Because I think the rest of JJK is so good. It like the delta between the median episode of Jujutsu Kaisen and hidden inventory is way smaller than I expected it to be. After how like I started hidden inventory a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago for this podcast. And I'm like, oh, so everything's downhill from here.
And it's not.
Like, and then it's not. It's not. It's like, this is a really good anime. I really like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Like the Shibuya incident's even uphill from there.
No, but you overhyped the Shibuya incident, which is still really good. I understand why you feel the way you feel, and I don't actually feel that differently. But yeah, no, hidden inventory was was definitely a high watermark. But then like by the end of the killing game, I'm like, or the end of where we got in the killing game, I'm like, I like anime.
Man, like, I mean, that final episode is like
the Sendai
best
Colony
point to go out on. Like,
everyone was very worried about how they were going to adapt that because that was 7 chapters, which was the most they had done in the entire season at once. And I think they pulled it off like crazy. I was really worried. I was like, please don't let the last episode be one where they,
No, but they just locked in.
They incredible episode, yeah.
They locked.
Now go learn your Yuta lore, because
yeah, you gotta
not
watch
you'll get all of it
JJK0.
because a bunch of the Rika lore is only in the manga, but
well, the thing is, I think this is a really good indicator for me. Is like I haven't watched the episodes of Kaguya that have come out since, even though I said like I'll probably watch it once there's more Kaguya available, and I haven't bothered to, especially because I think Geoff was a little dour about the fact that they're like.
They skipped a lot of my favorite stuff from the back half of the manga, and it has like I don't hate how they like.
Let's move it below Konosuba then.
No, we can talk about that later. We can talk.
But like Tristan, are you going to keep watching JJK on your own
when the next season drops?
Yeah,
I'm leaning towards no.
I'm surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I'm jazzed to watch Zero. Like I'm kind of like pleased I had have a little treat left.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, right, like, if this was my first watch, I think I'd probably be around where you are, Miles, like, above Sentenced to Be a Hero, below Dungeon Meshi. But, like, in part because I've caught Yazy's brain rot, and in part because I've rewatched it a bunch of times, I appreciate, like, just how deep it really is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many
you've
things.
had to sit there and listen to me tell you about all of the things that are left out that I've learned. Yep.
Yeah, and all the, like, there's a lot of, like, real subtleties to, like, the decisions that the characters make, and, like,
This reminds me of that reminds me of an anime called Royal Space Force.
Yeah. We should
Really benefits from each rewatching.
I will give it a rewatch, and maybe we can do that at North. That would be fun, actually. Yeah, like, it really benefits on rewatch. And I was trying to bring up Kaguya earlier because, like, it's got a similar structural brilliance to it. Where
I don't know why you're trying to bring up Kaguya, because, like, I think both me and Miles have this above.
I'm trying to explain why I was bringing it up. I'm literally trying to explain why I was bringing it up. Let me finish the sentence. It's got a similar structural thing that it does, where it slices out the in-between moments that are, you know, you would typically leave in for, like, character building, or just, like, giving the audience some time to enjoy these characters in a state where they're not miserable and fighting for their lives, right? But it has this understanding of, like, where we last left the characters and where we pick them up, where they've gone through a little bit of life and developed a bit between those moments. And it's compared to Demon Slayer, which is just kind of a speed run of Dragon Ball, right?
I don't think that's fair. It's really long.
But, like, it's, you know, it's a speed run of the formula. This is like a genuine shake-up to it, where things that happen off screen that inform things that happen on screen that you don't find out about until later. And each reread, you add new layers to your understanding of everything that's going on, and it makes it more satisfying. Like Bakano, right? Like, that's not a comparison I make lightly.
So you're cool with us putting it between
I'm
Dungeon
cool.
Meshi and Sentenced to Be a Hero?
I'm cool with it being there, because I think, like, if you ever rewatch it, Miles, you're eventually going to move it up. Like, personally, I would put it above Apocalypse Hotel.
That's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah.
You sure?
I would never, but
I would actually. I mean, did
to
on
me,
my
it's
list.
just
I would
weird
put it
because-
above Odd Taxi, but that's
what? No, you wouldn't.
I would.
It's weird for me because we're so used to, like, me and Miles, we're just so used to listening to Geoff be so passionate about these entries, and then to just run across something that he's just like, Apocalypse Hotel? Nah. and it's like, are you Geoff?
I love Apocalypse Hotel. I love Jujutsu Kaisen more.
Yeah, here's the thing, you guys. Geoff just doesn't talk about it as much because of the percentage of time in our house that is spent talking about it. Therefore, he needs a break and doesn't bring it up all the time.
Okay.
But when you consider the percentage of conversation in our house for the last 2 years that have been dominated by this series,
it makes sense from that context, I suppose.
You know, you're going to watch Zero, and at some point you're probably going to get the itch to rewatch it, Miles, and I would be interested to see where it ends up for you.
Do you know how hard it was for me to watch like 40 episodes of anime for the podcast?
I know you're not going to do it right away, but you will eventually feel like doing it. Probably when the new season's coming out, you're going to be like, maybe I should give myself a little refresher like you do with Carl. Because you compared this to Carl, right?
Yeah, like how much time did you spend re-listening to Carl, Miles?
So yes, I did recently go through my most of it was a reread this time around. with the physical books. 'Cause some of them I hadn't read all the way through or had done bits and pieces. But yeah, no, that's different. Geoff was ahead of the curve on Carl, and I am grateful he got me ahead of the curve. And now it's like a mainstream thing, and I'm like, I liked it before it was cool, and I have proof because this podcast has been going on since before Carl was cool.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's great. Love Parade of Horribles. Love you, Matt Dinneman. Jujutsu Kaisen, number 19, best anime of all time for now.
For now. Could go higher, could go lower. I mean,
we can move it up one if you help me move Royal Space Force above Apocalypse Hotel. I'll move it up 3 at that point, honestly. I'm fine with putting it under 100 meters.
Deal.
Tristan, are you okay with that? Because we're moving down APOC Hotel. That's how much Geoff cares. That's really
how much
funny.
Geoff cares, is that APOC Hotel is going under Royal Space Force.
JJK deserves its flowers, and I am willing to I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
Okay.
Will it also make my wife happy? Yes.
And there's the rub.
Is that part of the calculation? Sure.
All right. Cool. And on that note, that's our podcast. It took me the entire time of holding it back, but I gotta say, to end this off, Gojo is just a budget key free. I'm sorry.
No, listen, actually, wait. Keyfree's a good father. He's responsible. He's polite. He has manners. In fact, I would say it's an insult to Keyfree to compare him. And
a little bit,
I say that as a Gojo lover. Keyfree's a nice man who's responsible and loves his children, and would not dangle his children in front of danger in order to see what happens.
See you all in Canada.
See ya.
Next time on Quest for the Best, Yokohama shopping log.